All set, Carrie. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, everybody, good evening. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Warren Town Council. It is Tuesday, December 8th, 2020, and minutes after 7 p.m. If everybody would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The first part of the meeting is reserved for public comment. Are there any people waiting in Zoom world or on the phone who have any public comment?
No, there isn't, Carrie.
Alrighty. I do have a little acknowledgement I would like to make in the form of hearty gratitude, thanks, and congratulations to the amazing team led by Marilyn Matheson, who put on this year's holiday festival at a time where we really didn't know whether it was going to happen or not. Marilyn really did herself and the entire community proud with the holiday festival and scavenger hunt, which was an amazing success. She was thrilled to report there were about 80 kids who participated. She asked that I specifically let you all hear the biggest cheer for our fire department. The Warren Fire Department was amazing in decorating all of the trucks and driving around town and really sort of getting everybody cheered up. The DPW and police, of course, were there for support and helped get everything set up. Marilyn's team of Juliet Castleman, Liz Campo, and then Melissa and Steve at East Bay Printing, and then Sasha Pollan on social media. Everybody was just stupendous. Nikki Piper did an amazing job wrangling volunteers, her entire family. All of the volunteers who participated, and what a guy. Steve Velasco has donated the grand prize. I don't know how that will be communicated to the public who won the scavenger hunt, but Steve has just generously stepped in and done his all and donated the grand prize. So thank you and congratulations and job well done. And I think we have a lot to be proud about in our little community. I will hand it over to Judge Minakuchi, who will do the swearing in of our two recently re-elected members of the council. Do we have the judge with us? Yes, I see you.
Right here.
Hi, thank you so much. I will mute myself and let you take it over.
Sure. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for having me. I just want to say briefly before I administer the oaths that in my practice, I'm in the workers' compensation court now. I enjoyed my tenure of 5 years as the Warren probate judge, and I dearly miss Sandy and I dearly miss that court. Warren is a wonderful town. And if I could, I would still be there doing that job today. It was just a wonderful thing. And I just want to tell you how much gratitude I have for the town. I do want to say that it isn't the trials that I preside over, the decisions that I make, or the judgments that I render that bring me the greatest satisfaction now when I'm on the bench. It's the mediated settlements that I help parties reach. So it's in that spirit that I just want to say to all of you, I implore you all to be open-minded, to see things from the opponent's view, and you will disagree, but don't be disagreeable, as they say. A compromised resolution has broad support and the best chance of success. So with that, I am going to wish you all good luck and much success during this term. At this point, I'm going to ask Steve Calenda. And Steve, I'm going to administer the oath. I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand while I administer it. And then I will ask you to please say I do when I get to the end. Here we go. Raise your right hand, Steve. I can't see you on the screen.
My hand is raised, Judge.
Okay, I see you now. Do you, Stephen P. Kalenda, solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution and obey the laws of the United States of America and of the state of Rhode Island, and that you will, in all respects, observe the provisions of the charter and ordinances of the town of Warren, and will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of town council for which you have been elected for the ensuing 4 years, until another be engaged in your place, or until you be legally discharged therefrom. So help you God.
I do.
Thank you. We will
Thank you.
now turn to Councilman-elect P. Brant Heckert. If you could please, Councilman-elect, raise your right hand. Maybe you could speak and that way you'll come up.
Yes, Judge. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll ask you to do the same. Do you,
Absolutely.
P. Brent Heckert, solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution and obey the laws of the United States of America and of the state of Rhode Island, and that you will, in all respects, observe the provisions of the charter and ordinances of the town of Warren, and will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of town council for which you have been elected for the ensuing 4 years, until another be engaged in your place, or until you be legally discharged therefrom. So help you God.
I do.
Thank you very much. Thank you for
Judge.
having me tonight, folks. And if you need anything, I'm always willing to help out. Thank you very much. Good luck.
Thank you,
to you.
Judge.
Thanks, Judge.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome.
All righty. And now we can proceed to the next item on the agenda, which is the election of town council officers. In a moment, I will open the floor to nominations. We'll start with the town council president. And I will ask that the nomination and the second that you identify yourself, and then we will, I will do the roll call style vote so that those who are listening in know exactly what is happening. So is there a nomination for president?
This is Brant Heckert. I nominate Carrie Cronin for council president.
This is John Hanley. I second the nomination.
Thank you. We will vote. Joseph Di Pasquale, your vote.
Nay.
Councilman Heckert, your vote.
Aye.
Councilman Kalenda, your vote.
Aye.
Vice President Handley, your vote.
Aye.
We have 4 ayes, 1 nay. The ayes have it. Do I have a nomination for town council vice president?
This is Brant Heckert. I nominate John Hanley for town council vice president.
And do I have a second from the floor?
I'll second that. Steve Kalenda.
All right. Do all the roll call vote? Councilman Joseph Di Pasquale, your vote.
Nay.
Councilman Brant Heckert, your vote.
Aye.
Councilman Steve Kalenda, your vote.
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. And Vice President Hanley, your vote for yourself? I didn't vote for myself.
Why not? I need all the votes I can get, Carrie.
All right. So again, we have a 4-2-1 vote. Thank you all very much. Moving on, I will let you know that Vice President Hanley may have to step out. There was an emergency call that he may have to attend to. And if that happens, we will continue on in his absence. I would also like to bring to your attention the statement of conflict of interest, otherwise known as the recusal form. I know that I myself and at least 2 others will need to recuse themselves. Deputy Clerk Speroni forwarded us these forms earlier in the week on the 4th, I believe. And I've printed one out and filled it out and I'll deliver it to town hall sometime subsequently. If in fact you do need to recuse, please do mute your microphone and either turn off your video or step out of camera view during that discussion and vote. And if you have any concerns about the, or questions about the form itself, Ms. Baroni will take care of that afterwards.
Madam President, can I ask a quick question for the solicitor?
Okay.
It's Steve Kalenda. Hey, Tony,
Yes.
on a recusal, hypothetically, if somebody has to recuse, don't they just become a part of the public?
Well, my advice has always been that once you notify the chair that you were recused and you file the necessary paperwork, you leave the dais, but you're not allowed to speak.
Correct.
That kind of defeats the purpose.
Yeah, correct. But I mean, I know we're in Zoom and I know we're in virtual, and I don't want to beat this dead horse. I've been down this road many times. But if a member has to recuse, all they really need to do is just turn off their mic and just not participate in any of the discussion and just become.
Correct. Turn off the mic and turn off the video.
Okay.
And that's good enough.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
All righty. Next, we're going to go to appointments, and for you all viewing and council members, turn to page 7. If I understand correctly, I will read the board or commission that we are doing the reappointments and read the names, ask if there are any objections to any of the reappointments. The reappointments have all been confirmed through the clerk's office, so there is nobody on this list, to my knowledge, who is not interested in being reappointed. The resignations will all be addressed during correspondence. Is that an acceptable way of handling this? Then we'll entertain a motion and a second and a vote for the reappointment by board and commission. Is that good?
That's correct. Yes. If there is an objection from an individual member, one of the town council members can say that they would ask that particular member of the board be withdrawn from the batch vote.
All righty. I will ask that at the beginning then. The first commission is the Arts and Cultural Commission. It is a 1-year term. Are there any names on this list who any member of the council would like polled? Hearing none. Darby Potts of 3 Bayview Avenue, Linda McGathlin of 42 Market Street, Susan Rotblatt Walker of 24 Beach Road in Bristol, Aaron DeThomas of 8 Quentin Lane in Bristol, Perry DiLorenzo of 22 Liberty Street, Uriah Donnelly of 97 Child Street, and James Seagoff of 91 Main Street, Unit 355. Do we have a motion to reappoint each of these members?
Motion to reappoint all 7 of the Arts and Cultural Commission.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Councilman Heckert, a second by Vice President Hanley. All in favor, we can just do this together as an aye.
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 Any opposed? The ayes have it. Next is Associate Housing Court Judge. This is a 1-year term. There is 1 candidate. Would any member of the council like this candidate polled? Hearing none. Alden C. Harrington, Esquire of 38 Water Street. Do we have a motion to reappoint?
I'll make a motion to reappoint Alden C. Harrington from 38 Water Street as the Associate House Cut Judge for 1-year term.
I'll second Brant Heckert.
Councilman Kalenda, motion. Heckert, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Associate Municipal Court Judge. This is a 1-year term. Brett V. Boban, Esquire, 15 Thompson Street, Warren. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
I'll make
to-
a motion. Go ahead, Brant.
Yeah, I'll make that motion to appoint Brett Bovian as Associate Municipal Court Judge.
I'll second that.
All right. We have a motion from Councilman Heckert, a second from VP Hanley. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Next, we have Bristol County Water Authority. This is a 3-year term. Christopher Stanley of 4402 Market Street. Would anybody, I forgot to ask previously, pull this person? If there's only the one. Do we have a motion?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Let's have it. Conservation Committee, Commission, this is a 3-year term. David Weed of 23 Bridge Street.
Motion
I'll
to
make-
appoint.
Second.
Motion by Heckert, second by Hanley. All in favor?
Aye.
Economic Development Board, 3-year term. There are 3 candidates. Would anybody like to remove any of these for discussion? Hearing none. We have Zachary Weinberger of 489 Main Street in Warren. We have Ashley Medeiros of 15 Collins Circle, and we have Valerie Marzov. This is an alternate 1-year term of 8 George Street. Can we do all 3 with 2 being a 3-year and 1 being a 1-year?
Yes.
Okay, so do we have a motion?
Brant Heckert, motion to appoint all 3 members, the Economic Development Board.
I'll second that, Steve Kalenda.
All right, we have a motion and a second to reappoint the 2 members, Weinberger and Medeiros, for a 3-year term, and the 1 member, Morozov, as an alternate 1-year term. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. All right, Electrical Inspector, this is a 1-year term. Nicholas T. Nassett of 44 Everett Street.
Motion to approve. Second.
We have a motion by Hanley and a second by
Either, yeah. Yeah.
Kalenda. That's what it's going to be. All in favor?
Aye.
All righty. Harbor Management, this is a 3-year term. There are 3 members to be reappointed. Would anybody like to pull any of these? Hearing none. Craig Littman of 25 Shore Drive, Donald Rock Singwald of 10 Taylor Street, and Donald Betts of 64 Water Street. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve or to appoint?
Second, Steve Kalenda.
All right, so Hanley motion, Kalenda second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Holiday Festival, 1-year term, Marilyn Matheson, 41 Beach Street.
Steve Kalenda, motion to approve.
Second. Brant
Heckert
Heckert.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Juvenile Hearing Board, this is a 3-year term. We have, there's 1 3-year term and 2 alternate 1-year terms. So Teresa Jeremiah of 50 Baggy Wrinkle Cove is up for a 3-year term of reappointment. Donna Raza is an alternate for a 1-year term reappointment of 17 Denver Avenue. And Kenneth McPhillips is also an alternate, a 1-year term reappointment of 40 Truman Avenue. Do we have a motion?
Steve Kalenda, motion to approve.
Second. Brant Heckert.
Heckert seconds. Kalenda's motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Continuing, Library Trustee, this is a 1-year term. Carol Gafford of 700 Metacom Avenue, number 133, and John Cheney of 172 Water Street. Do we have a motion?
Motion
To appoint?
Approve.
appoint.
So I'm going to say we have a Hanley motion and a Kalenda second. All in
Thank you.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Municipal Court Judge, John J. Rigo, 29 Long Lane. Do we have a motion to reappoint?
Motion to appoint. Brant
Second, Steve Kalenda.
Motion, Kalenda second. All in favor?
Heckert.
Aye.
Aye. Planning Board, this is a 3-year term. There are 2 reappointments, Tyler Dixon Jr. of 40 Brownell Street and Jane Miller of 41 Terrace Avenue.
Motion to appoint.
Second, Steve Kalenda.
Brant Heckert.
Heckert motion, Kalenda second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And plumbing mechanical inspector, it's a 1-year term, Peter J. Withers, 8 Brady Street.
Steve Kalenda, motion to approve.
Brad Heckert, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Recreation Board, it's a 3-year term, Jody Lawless of 39 Cherry Street.
Motion to appoint Brad Heckert.
Second, Steve Kalenda.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Town Sergeant, 1-year term, Mrs. Bruce Hutchinson, 1 Cedar Lane.
Motion to
Motion to-
appoint Brad
Second.
Heckert.
John Hanley, second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Tree Commission, 3-year term, Marion L. Clark of 81 Union Street.
Motion to appoint Brad Heckert.
Second, Steve Kalenda.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 And I recuse here, VP Hanley. I'm going to mute myself and step aside. This is WVHDC.
I also need to recuse myself on this, so.
Okay. So we have the Voluntary Historic District Committee. It's a 4-year term. There are 2 appointees, Sarah Valino from 259 Wall Street and Eileen Collins from 26 State Street. Is there a motion?
Kalenda, motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, back to you, Gary.
Here I am. Whoops, I forgot to mute. And finally, Zoning Board, this is a 5-year term. W. Barrett Holby of 62 Shore Drive is a 5-year term. Then we have 2 alternates, Jamie Sylvia, a 1-year term at 22 Dyer Street, and Jason Nystrom, also an alternate, a 1-year term at 51 Kickamuit Road.
Steve Kalenda, motion to approve.
Brad Heckert, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And we have effectively reappointed all members of boards and commissions who wished to be reappointed. Next, we have the interview for an opening on the Board of Assessment Review.
Anthony, this isn't a paid position. It's my sister. Should I recuse on this even though it's not a paid position?
I'd still recuse, yes.
Okay, and in an abundance of caution, I will recuse on this matter.
And that's exactly right. It's just out of an abundance of caution. That's all.
All righty, so we have 1 candidate for this, the Board of Assessment Review, Julie A. Coelho of 156 Tuisset Road. She has submitted a very reasonable application here, given her credentials. She was contacted about appearing this evening and she was not able to make it. Does anybody have any questions or comments about her ability to take on this role?
Motion to approve.
I'll second that, Brad Heckert.
Councilman Kalenda has made a motion, seconded by Councilman Heckert, to appoint Julie Hanley Coelho, CMC, to the Board of Assessment Review. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Julie, thank you very much. I think you know what to do. Okay, next we have he's back. We have the acceptance of the November 10, 2020 minutes. Has everybody reviewed these minutes? Has anybody found any reason to amend or reject?
I'll make a motion, we accept the November, what was the date on it?
And
November 10th minutes?
I'll second that motion. Brad Heckert.
Okay, we have a motion Hanley, second Heckert. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, minutes accepted. Next, we go to consent agenda. These items are received and filed with no other action taken. Does anybody have any issues with this one?
Nope.
All
Make a
right.
motion to pass the consent agenda?
I'll second that, Steve Kalenda.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And going back, so next we're going to go to the 01, Chapter 18, Article 5, Tree Ordinance, Section 18-101 through Section 18-120. This is a second reading and adoption of tree administrative, or second reading of the ordinance and an adoption of the tree administrative guidelines. Do we have anybody on the phone or in the Zoom audience from any of the boards and or commissions who might have an opinion or any input here?
Harry, we have several people on. I'm just not sure exactly who would like to speak on this matter. So if the person would like to raise their hand, I can allow them to speak.
Okay.
I don't have anybody.
All right. So being that this is the second reading and that this is this ordinance is a living document, what we have arrived at here represents some edits, some amendments, some updates, some changes. The information in blue that is on this document represents the changes agreed upon, voted upon that were made by the Town Council and the Tree Commission as of September 17th. And then there are a few additional edits in purple, and those came from the October meeting, or I might be a month off on both of those, but this document has been reviewed and edited by various boards and commissions and people. I don't know if anybody else from the council has received specific feedback or any questions. I have, and I'm happy to go over that after we've had any comments from the council. Does anybody want to speak on the current state of this document?
Council President. It's
Councilman
Brant Heckert. Well, you did mention that this is a living document, as is the other document that we're asked to adopt tonight, which is the administrative guidelines. And I did speak with a few people about the trees that are listed in that document, and they just wanted to make sure that the recommended trees, there might be some ability to add to that list or subtract from that list, because as time goes by, some species change and ideas change about what makes a good street tree. So they wanted to make sure that we weren't locked into this list, and I think that I think we can assure them that they're not. I mean, it's this listing can be adapted, in other words, and I think that's important.
That's correct. Because they're guidelines, it's meant to be updated on a regular basis, reviewed and scrutinized. So that's a correct statement. And this is not carved in stone.
Thank you. I just
Not even
wanted to
carved
make
in
that
wood.
clear for those folks that might have a concern about that. Thank you.
Heckert. Any other comments from the council?
Madam
Councilman
President.
Kalenda.
Yes, thank you. Tony, so if the guidelines are meant to be reviewed and scrutinized, should we have it outlined somewhere? That's exactly what we're going to do, either review it every 2 years or 5 years, or, whatever day we decide to review it.
If I'm not mistaken, that's in the ordinance.
Yeah, I
And
was looking for it. I couldn't find it.
in the scheme is, if you take a look on page 2, section 18-107B4, the duties of the tree commission: assist the tree warden in preparing and periodically revising Warren Tree administrative guidelines, tree planting and maintenance plans, and lists of significant trees. So that's something that
Yeah, Tony, I hear you loud and clear.
by the tree commission.
Okay, so do they have something You know, I mean, I'm not trying to be a little bit of a stickler, but going back on my past experiences, when we had something set up for reviews in our policies and procedures, it was actually spelled out when we were going to review it. Either annually, every 365 days, or, you know, periodically. How do we interpret that?
Well, you know,
Periodically.
I've got to say this. You have a good tree commission, an active tree commission. And if you want to put in timelines, that's fine. But the way that I read this, it's not every year we review it. It's a constant. It should be something worked on constantly. A list of significant trees, the revision of the Warren tree guidelines, tree planting and maintenance. And, you know, if you lock it in, but by the way, it's whatever you want to do. That's a straight policy consideration. But I think the reason this language was used was because things happen in the town. And this allows for the tree commission and the tree warden to react accordingly and not say it's going to be an annual type of a thing. I think this contemplates that they're not locked into a time frame, and they should react to events as they take place. But that's something that, you know, I mean, if you want to have timelines on it, that's fine
So
too.
my only concern with that, Tony, would be is if, yeah, the present tree commission, they're doing an outstanding job. But 2 years from now, for whatever reason, they get off or they're just dropping the ball or asleep at the wheel. There's nothing there telling them, it's just periodically. So my question is, would we be better off having a timeline?
Well, it's definitely a concern if you get, and pardon the pun, but if you get some dead wood on that tree commission, that could be a problem. However,
at the very least, having them respond. I mean, we spent a lot of time on this tree ordinance, a lot of time. And I'm actually one that's very happy to see it moving on to, you know, being completed. But I just don't know if I'm comfortable with them not having an actual timeline. They're going to review it, then review it.
that's fine. As I said, that's a straight policy consideration. There is no legal bar to having a timeline in it. That's basically up to the council. And if you want to amend that section of the ordinance, you're free to do that, and you're free to do it now.
Yeah, and I mean, I think maybe we could at least report back to us, even if it's every 2 years. You know, just bring back and say, hey, we're good. Or we need to rethink which trees we want to take off because the species being invaded by, you know, something that we don't have a control over.
Madam Chair, may I ask Kate a question? I'm sorry, Brent, if I can just ask Kate a quick question.
Please do.
Does the tree commission, like other commissions, do they have to file an annual report of their activities with the town council?
They do file an annual report, yes, or they present themselves physically to give an update report.
Then I'm satisfied with that. If it's an annual report, like what I used to have to do with zoning and what planning does, then I'm very comfortable with that. That's fine. Thank you, Tony, for asking that question. Great question.
Thank you.
Did anybody else have anything to say? That's a no. So I would just, before we go to approval or not of this, I've got to receive a considerable amount of sort of feedback and outreach from various people about how pleased they were that this was finally happening. There are a lot of people who are very concerned about the tree canopy in the community and the health and well-being of trees in the community. And so a lot of real positive feedback in that regard, and sort of a hope for more transparency when it comes to the choosing the planning of where trees are going to go, when streets are going to be redone, assuring that citizens and neighbors and residents will have the opportunity to participate in the process and be included when the placement of trees on streets is happening, and that the varieties being chosen from our guidelines are that they have some opportunity to participate. And just that this document, now that it has had so much focus and attention, will really be a more sort of integral part of the tree commission's month-to-month activities, and will be really referred to and regarded and implemented, and yeah, I think people, and we will have a vacancy on the tree commission. So, you know, maybe all of that positive feedback will result in somebody, a great new applicant. But I think that's what I have heard, is that people are excited about this and just want to be sure that citizens have the opportunity to be a part of it all, and that the tree commission feels empowered by it. So if there are, there was also the comment if there were to be some sort of an incentive program going forward to get either more trees or certain trees planted, or prevent people from taking trees down. And as we stated in the beginning, because this is a living document, if it is the will of the council, or if there is some outreach from our tree warden or our tree commissioner to do so, we can go down that path when it is when people want that. So do we have? We are looking for a motion to accept this second reading and adopt the tree administrative guidelines.
I'll make that motion that we accept and adopt the 01, Chapter 18, Article 5 Tree Ordinance, Section 18 through 101, and Section 18 through 120, and adoption of the tree administrative guidelines.
I'll second that.
So we have a motion by Councilman Heckert, a second by Councilman Kalenda. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Good work, all. Next, we have 02. This is Chapter 11, Article X1V, Mobile Food Establishments, MFE, Section 373, to add D, any applicant not meeting the criteria set forward in this ordinance may appeal their application to the town council. This is the second and final reading. Any questions or a motion?
I think I'd like to be reminded of exactly what this covers. I have some idea, but if someone would remind me. Brand Heckert, by the way.
Madam President, would you like me to just summarize it?
Yes, please.
So the way the ordinance is written now, Councilman Heckert, is if there is a restaurant within 250 feet of where somebody wants a mobile food establishment, they would be prohibited from getting a license. In the case, what brought this application was that someone wanted to do a hot dog stand. The restaurants that are within 250 feet are fast food chain restaurants. So he was just requesting that he at least have an opportunity to come before the council to make his case why there might be an exception to the ordinance as it's written.
Thank you for that explanation.
Thank you, Planner Rulli. So do we have a motion to approve and pass this amendment to the MFE?
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Heckert has made the motion. VP Hanley, the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. All right. Moving on to page 3, P2, request for a Biddling license from Miranda Nutrition, LLC, 614 Metacom Avenue. Do we have the applicant here with us? Does anybody have any questions or comments about this application?
No.
There's an application for a nutrition supplement drink shop. It's an Herbalife affiliate. The person seems to have all of their certifications and permits in order. Is this past the clerk's office and without any issues attached? Do we have a motion to approve this?
I'll make a motion. We approve the vitrilling license for Miranda Nutrition, 614 Metacom Avenue, as long as they complete all of the requirements from the clerk's office for licensing.
Steve Callender, I'll second that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. Now we have a request for a transfer of a Biddling license from Janco Inc., doing business as Burger King, number 2335 at 609 Metacom Avenue in Warren, to JSC New England Operating LLC, doing business as Burger King, number 2335 at 609 Metacom Avenue. Do I see that we have a member of the...
Madam Chairman, I am Patrick Higgins. I am from JSC New England Operating LLC.
Hello, welcome to our meeting. Do any members of the council have any questions for Mr. Higgins?
No?
Madam President, Steve Callender, I just have a few questions.
Please do.
Patrick, thank you for joining us. Hey, just a few questions. I see that it's transferring from Janco to a company out of Florida. Will you be the point of contact for their Warren location?
I will be for licenses, yes.
So who would be
It's
their
gonna be
point of
the-
contact?
I will be the point of contact for licensing for all of the 47 Janco stores we purchased. The current management team and the district manager and the day-to-day operations will not change. It's just a matter of the name on the paycheck changes for the employees. Everything else will remain the same. Except
Okay,
we'll put a new road sign up because of a little mishap over the weekend.
All right, well, hey, thank you for clarifying that. Much appreciated. Good luck in your
Thank you,
merger. And I'm glad to see that the same teams are going to stay in place. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all I have, Madam President. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Any other questions?
I'll make a motion. We transfer the vitrilling license from Janco Inc. to JSC New England Operating LLC.
I'll second that motion.
All right, VP Hanley made a motion. Councilman Heckert, a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed?
Aye.
Have it. Thank you very much. You're all set, sir.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Good luck, Patrick.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so P4, this is request a public hearing for a zoning ordinance amendment to provide for special use standards for permitting appropriately zoned marijuana compassion centers. This is from Winding Road Compassion Center, Inc. at 632 Metacom Avenue here in Warren. Before we go any further with this, I would like to ask Solicitor DeSisto what our options are here. If the council can discuss and decide to just deny here, or do we have to refer to zoning for an opinion and have it come back to us?
It's my understanding that the applicant has paid the necessary fee and filed the necessary application. So notwithstanding what the council has done previously on this ordinance, what you are confined to do tonight is to refer the matter to the planning board and set it down for a public hearing with the necessary advertising at your January town council meeting.
Alrighty. Before I entertain a motion, I will just let the public know and the rest of the council. I think you are all included on the many emails that we received from members of the community and many abutters in opposition. Is it appropriate for me to share that at this time? I just did.
You can.
Okay, so as I just stated, I received 4, 5, 6 at least emails in opposition, nothing in support or favor at this time. If anybody else has any other feedback that they've received, please share it now.
Madam President, I got some negative feedback too. Quite a few people. Cheech and Chong did ask me to approve it though.
Well, that's just going to go up in smoke now, isn't it?
Madam President, I have a question. Is the ordinance that the applicant is asking for the draft ordinance that we had presented previously, or is he drafting his own ordinance?
It appears to me that a proposed ordinance is the ordinance that was reviewed by the planning board, the draft ordinance that was reviewed by the town council at the October meeting. And if I could just add, to follow up on the council president's comment, those emails that you've received are public record. And I know that Sandy has shared them with the other council members. That those comments become part of the record.
Alrighty. Councilman Kalenda.
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. I just want to share that I spoke to some folks that are abutters, and I didn't get into the minutia detail, knowing that this, because I came from zoning, I knew that this has to go to planning. And they were just wondering why they weren't contacted. But now that it is going to planning, all abutters will be contacted, and they'll have an opportunity to go speak at the public hearing when it occurs in January. So with that, good luck to the applicant. They deserve their opportunity to have their application go through planning like anyone else. And, good luck to them. That's it. Thank you.
Mr. DeSisto, were you going to say anything else?
No.
Okay. Then do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion. As I understood the solicitor, we have to grant them, because they paid the fee, we have to refer it to planning. So I'll make a motion, we refer their request to planning to be submitted to the town council at next month's meeting.
And I'll second that motion.
For a public hearing, correct, yeah.
Okay.
And I'll second it.
With the necessary advertising.
With the necessary advertising, yes. Are we going to have is that enough of a time frame for planning to make their notice and recommendation and us to make our notice?
Well,
Bob?
I don't think we're going to see it.
If it goes to the council for a public hearing in January, I mean, it should go to the plan. You should refer to the planning board first, and then they can hear it in January. Well, actually, they can hear it in December on the 28th, and then you can advertise for your public hearing for the council for January.
Okay. So we could put it on the regular next month's regular council meeting.
That's correct. Yes.
You refer it to the planning board.
Correct. Yeah. That's my motion. Refer it to the planning board to form an opinion to get back for the public hearing for next month's regularly scheduled meeting.
Councilman Kalenda?
Yeah, Bob, didn't the time frame change when zoning went to 45 days? Did that trigger planning? Did they also go to 45 days?
I don't believe so.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure if they're gonna make it to the 28th. I don't know if they follow the same time frame for zoning. We went and pushed it out.
I don't think we have to advertise for, other than putting it on the agenda for, all the planning board is gonna do is make a recommendation on the application to the council. They're not gonna, that's the same way we handled it previously when we had the draft ordinance. They made a written recommendation, opinion as for the council, then it's your decision whether you want to take it up or not.
Yeah, I just want to make sure it gets on their agenda in a timely fashion. I don't want to give them false hope if they end up in January, thinking that we're going to hear it in January, and planning didn't hear it until January.
Under 45-2460, the planning board, when the planning board takes it up, that's not a public hearing and doesn't require advertising. The hearing is before the town council, and I'm advised that there is enough time for the necessary advertising for the zone change. And I'm not, the planning board's already taken a look at this. Council's already taken a look at this. So, I don't think that the schedule that you have outlined is inappropriate for this matter.
All right, thank you.
Now, Anthony, I'm looking at the application. It's not for a specific zone change. It's for a zoning ordinance change.
That's correct, yes.
So there aren't any abutters to be notified because technically we have an idea where it's supposed to be, but we don't we don't have a specific plot. This is changing the whole ordinance, not just that lot. So there wouldn't be an abutters list, correct?
That's correct, but it doesn't bar the town from notifying those abutters
Okay.
what's going on because of the proposal that you have.
Okay.
Ms. Michaud?
I just wanted to make the note, according to, and to confirm this with Anthony, that's correct. According to the application was filed on the 22nd of November. That would put the planning board's deadline to return a opinion within 45 days. Does that start at the date of application, or does that start at the date of referral?
Starts the date that the town, because the application was filed with the town council, the time limit starts tonight.
Okay,
So you have plenty of time to get it to the planning board and then back to the town council under the motion that Council Vice President Hanley has proposed.
okay, so it's 45 days for the planning board from tonight, and then 65 days for the town council to commence a public hearing from tonight.
That's correct.
Okay.
All righty, so we have a motion from Vice President Hanley and a second from Councilman Kalenda to refer this to planning for an opinion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. Moving on, we have correspondence. There are a number of resignations here, which I am guessing that we will handle in the traditional manner. I would say that the C4, which is the letter of resignation from Warren Veterans Honor Roll Committee member Patricia Muse, be recognized as the others are, but I have had conversation with Warren Veterans Honor Roll Committee Chair Dave McCarthy, and he has expressed no urgency for advertising and reappointing at this time. Their agenda of goals and plans is light enough. And if you all recall, we made that a rather large committee, I believe of 9 members. And so he feels no need to reappoint immediately, but understands that at some point we will have to fill it out or readjust the size of that group. So when we do go to advertise for the other vacancies, we do not need to include that vacancy. Is there anything else on the?
Can I ask a question on that, please?
I'm sorry?
May I ask a question on that?
Yes, Councilman Hecker.
Is there a reason not to advertise it? I mean, we're not paying to advertise it. Is there a reason not to advertise there's an opening?
Only that he's not interested, he didn't feel any need to fill that position at this time. He was confident that they're good as they are right now. That was just his, when I reached out to him, that is what he said to me. If we were to advertise and somebody were to apply, we could interview and appoint them, but he just expressed no urgency in filling that position. You know, there are some really critical positions here, planning board, tree commission, housing authority, you know, not to diminish the EDB, which will have 2 vacancies, and the Conservation Commission 1. So I think from just a logistics point of view, and to get, it's often so difficult getting good applicants for these vacancies, I would rather put a little more focus into some of these other more critical and important boards and commissions at this time. All right, so is there anything else?
I'll make a motion. We accept and file the correspondence and ask the clerk to mail out a letter of thanks to all of the applicants who have resigned, and also to post all of the open positions. I mean, should I accept for the Veterans Board? No, but I would say let's post all the positions.
Yeah, the vacancies can all be posted online for sure.
Yep, post them all. I would say, I don't want to pick and choose which boards I think are more important. If we post, when we post in the paper, does it matter how many positions we post? If we post it once? You know, if it's one position, 4 or 9, does that increase the cost of advertising
Just by the number of words.
by the number of words? Because
It's not significant.
I think we should, yeah, my motion is going to be to post in the local paper for 1 week and to post on the website in perpetuity until filled. Does that make sense to everybody?
Terry, can I say something, please?
Please do, Ms. Barani.
The Warren Housing Authority, that won't be being posted because Michael will be doing a election there because that is for a resident.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
you're welcome.
All righty, so we have a motion to send letters of gratitude and to post the vacancies online and advertise for 1 cycle. Do we have a second?
I'll
Second.
second that.
Okay, Councilman Kalenda is for the second. And just briefly, I hope you've all read the Warren Harbor Management Commission's annual report and mission statement. It was very comprehensive. They've accomplished a lot. They also deserve our gratitude for their hard work. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any
I,
opposed?
can I just, Council President, can I just ask about C3? You know, if we could have a brief explanation of what that means, I think the public would appreciate that.
That is fine by me. Solicitor DeSisto, could you please describe for the council and for our viewers how that letter of withdrawal from Blount Boats impacts going forward?
I'll defer to Mr. Rulli if I'm saying, Bob, if I'm saying something incorrect, please jump in. But this application was not approved by the planning board due to the phasing of the project. And that meant because some of the key elements were not approved, it could not come back to the town council for the zone changes. So it's my understanding that the applicant was withdrawing this application and will come back with another application that will address the comments from the planning board. Bob, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. I mean, the plan as submitted had 4 phases to it over a period of 10 years. The planning board didn't feel comfortable approving something that went out that far just because of what we're experiencing this year. Economic conditions can change, the market could change. They were supportive of phase 1. So based on that, the applicant will be coming back before the planning board for development review for phase 1, and then we'll go to zoning for the dimensional relief that they're going to require to move forward with phase 1.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty, so did we vote?
I
All in
believe so.
favor? All right, so moving on to old business. OB1 is discussion and action regarding the social media policy. We have the draft in our packets here. The notations in red are the edits from the November 13th or the November meeting. And then the blue are the edits and amendments and legal stuff from Solicitor DeSisto and Steve Antonucci. So if everybody has everybody reviewed these edits and corrections, there is language at the end, which I think is what was the biggest update to the document, which just further clarified the method of how any infractions or violations would be handled. The town manager having authority over employees of town hall, and the town council having the responsible for disciplining any employee or any member of a board or commission whom we have appointed. Yeah. And this policy will be reviewed on an annual basis by the town manager and the town council. So we've got our review built right into this. Does anybody have any questions?
Real quick, Madam President, one for the solicitor.
Councilman Kalenda, yes.
Thank you. Tony, if for some reason we have to have a conversation with a board member that we appointed, we would be doing that in executive session or in public?
You can do it in executive session
Okay.
unless the board member asks that it be an open session. That's under section 42-46-5.
Okay.
So the answer to your question is yes, it can be done in executive session.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. So do we have a motion to adopt this social media policy as it currently is written?
Brad Hecker.
Make a motion that we adopt the social media policy.
Well, I guess I'll second it then. Brad
So
Hecker.
Councilman Kalenda has made the motion to adopt. Councilman Heckert has seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. OB2 is discussion and action regarding the extension and or amendment of the town's declaration of state of emergency. So this is the 11th time we are charged with doing this. I know that Vice President Hanley has expressed his opposition to doing this, and that is fine. I can tell you that should there be any need or reason to make any swift decisions or major decisions for the town, it would be done with full communication and transparency to the rest of the council. There is no intention on my part to do anything other than what is best for the safety, health, and well-being of the community. So what is the, do we have a motion to move forward with this?
I will motion that we adopt the 11th amended declaration of emergency.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
And any opposed?
I'm opposed, and I just want to make sure that you don't, this does not reflect on your actions, Kerry. I think you're doing a great job. This is just, this is my standing of the way it should be and it shouldn't be. So it's, please don't look at, it doesn't reflect on you. It just reflects on the big picture.
I fully understand and appreciate you clarifying that again. Thank you. So the motion does pass, and so we have yet another declaration of emergency. And I truly hope we don't have to do this next month, but wear your mask, people, wash your hands, sanitize, keep your distance, stay home. Unless, of course, you're shopping local, but a lot of you can do that online and get food to go. All right, there we go. New business. NB1 is a discussion and action regarding the establishment of a little free pantry on town property. This past week, or prior to the creation of this agenda, I received, and I believe the entire council received, an email from Michael Kindness, a member of the community, and never a more appropriate name has been given. Kindness really does reflect who this person is, his entire family. And he was aware and has seen some of these little pantries that exist in many communities that are just basically free food for those in need. And there is an appalling level of food insecurity and hunger that exists right now, not just in our community, in the region, in the state, in the country, in the world. There is enough to go around. It's just stuck in some of the wrong places. And the idea behind this is create an opportunity for those who have enough to share with those who are in need. We're very lucky in our community to have folks like Hope in Maine, who have run programs since they started, but since the beginning of the pandemic, they immediately kicked into action with food programs in the schools and Nourish Your Neighbors and whatnot. And that has done so much to address the food insecurity issues that exist in our community, but we can always do more. I know that there are some legal issues just for safety and risk and whatnot surrounding these kind of programs. And Solicitor DeSisto has clearly illustrated that in his memo to us all about how these, if we pass this, how a food pantry of this nature would have to be overseen and managed and kept safe if it is to be on town property. I've thought a lot about this, and if we do in fact discuss and approve doing just a freestanding pantry, having it be in a place that is close to security cameras so that there can be that level of safety attached to it is important, though we don't want it to be someplace where people would feel in any way inhibited or embarrassed to utilize it and take action or to use it. I wonder if there is, if we approve this, if this is something that could grow with the need that exists out there to possibly a room or a space in town property. I know that the room that's to the left of the entrance down at the of Town Hall in the parking lot, I don't know how that room is used, but I'm kind of riffing here, but I think that this is a wonderful idea, and I hope we can work it out and approve it and maybe grow it as the need exists. Any comments or input from the council? Councilman Heckert.
Yes, well, I think we all recognize the dire need, and as you aptly put it, Council President, how food insecurity is real. We've all seen the lines in different communities, and ours is no different. And there's even more need now. And I know that EBCAP, which is East Bay Community Action, had 3 facilities, and they had to close 2 of them for various reasons. So they're down to 1, and it's appointment only. So there's less opportunity in the community now than there was. I do grapple with certain aspects of this, which is, as you mentioned, that it has to be in a place where it can be monitored, but we also want to make sure people feel comfortable utilizing it. So it's a kind of a double-edged sword. So and again, we're getting beyond this particular request, but your idea of maybe trying to establish something within one of our facilities that could be run by volunteers might be something we could pursue. Again, we're getting beyond what's in front of us, but I just think that, again, considering the need out there, which is going to increase, I think we're looking at some dire months coming up in early of next year. So something that we really need to make an effort towards. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Heckert. Councilman Kalenda.
Thank you, Madam President. So some may know, some may not know that Mike is actually my neighbor. And when I saw the email, I happened to catch him in his driveway, and we had a really quick conversation about, the food pantry and the idea. And I jumped on the phone, and I think you did too, Kerry. Started speaking with Tony, and Tony was very nice enough, and he really, I guess, went above and beyond, because he got right back to me about speaking to the trust, and the trust basically broke it down for yes, we can, and Tony will speak on it, I'm sure, of exactly what our policy is. So I'm very supportive of it. I think the ideal place would be somewhere around our government center. Because unfortunately, in today's day and age, we do need some type of video surveillance. And that's not for, catching somebody doing something inappropriate. It's just to monitor it. Maybe that'll be able to dictate, hey, something, we need to go fill it. We need to go, check the doors. But I believe Mike Highness is on, and I'm willing to listen to what he has to say, and then, let him give us his spiel.
I would like that very much. Michael, I see your name. You are muted. If you would like to unmute, and you could even start your video and let us know what inspired you to bring this to our attention.
Thanks very much, town council members, for putting this on the agenda so quickly and allowing me to just come in and talk about it really quickly. It started, as many things these days probably do, is something I saw on Facebook that someone in I think it was East Providence had put something like this up. And I know that we have food pantries. I think there's one at St. Mary's of the Bay. I think there's one or more in Bristol. And I think the need that this can fill is for when those are closed or when they're not available, for people to go in and get them. And I think the intent of this is that it's something that someone can, if they're driving by and they need something, or they're just they've gotten off the bus or something, and they need to pick up something quickly for dinner. It's not making an appointment. It's not going into a building and getting it. And I think that's what makes it so good, and also problematic, probably from a legal standpoint. I think, I guess some of the questions that I would have are probably jumping ahead too much as well. But there are different kinds of structures that could be put up. It could be freestanding, it could be something that's put into the ground on a post, like you see little free libraries. So there are official little free libraries, like the one that's on Main Street, and the ones that have been put near the school. And there's an organization, I don't know if it grew out of the Little Free Library, but Little Free Pantries, which is basically this very thing. And they have free plans that you can download to build something with shingles that'll protect the food from the elements. The one that I saw on Facebook was a repurposed cabinet. So, I think there are a lot of different options. When we get there, we can make those sorts of decisions. But I basically just see this as an additional place for people to get food, not meant to replace any of the food pantries that exist now, but just another option for people. And if anyone has any questions about, what I'm thinking about it or other things, I'm happy to answer those. But that's about all I had.
Mr. Hanley?
Yeah, I have a question, and it's about the logistics. I mean, I'm thinking what's going to be in there, and you're thinking, all right, maybe some Pop-Tarts, maybe some soup. But with the cold weather, you're only really going to be able to have dry products in the winter. If you put soup in there, it's going to freeze. I'm just concerned. I think it's a great idea. I'm running the logistics through my head. And the other thing with the whole COVID thing going on, if you got one person touches something and decides, no, I don't want this, I want that, and they put it back. I mean, I think it's a great idea. It's just I'm just trying to get my head around all of the liabilities and all of, I'm looking down the road. Is there anything bad that could happen from this? I don't see anything major, but it's just, the whole COVID transfer. Somebody comes in, oh, I want this package of crackers, and I grab it, and it's like, oh no, there's a Snickers bar. I'd rather have that. And they put that back. Are we creating a problem?
I would say that the cold weather, the types of foods that are going to be in a pantry of this nature are going to be shelf-stable foods, and the likelihood that stuff would sit there long enough to be damaged by cold weather. If there was super severely cold weather, like in the low teens or single digits, there may be stuff that might be compromised. I think that the idea of having a sanitizer station right by it, I know we invested in a few of those for our walkabouts, and if they are still available,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
We could post one right outside with, the obvious signage that would encourage people to sanitize before shopping or perusing. I think the bigger hurdle is going to be if the person, Michael Kindness, who brought this forward, is maybe willing to sit on a little committee to help make this happen. I know I would be willing to help move it forward. It's probably just going to take a little bit of planning and organization to identify a spot and publicize it and make it happen.
Absolutely.
Mr. DeSisto?
I think Mr. Heckert has a comment.
Thank you. Yeah, I guess what my question to Michael is, do you know of any other communities that are doing this and what their experience has been? I mean, that might be a good place to start as well.
I don't know of any communities that are doing it from a community standpoint, but I could certainly reach out to the, I think it was a hair salon or someone in East Providence that had put one out in front of their business. So I could certainly reach out to them and ask what sort of issues they've run into, or if they have any hints, tips.
I think that would be helpful. Thank you.
Madam Chair, may I respond?
You may.
Yes, I've got to say that the Interlocal Trust was great on this and very helpful. And they do have reference points for other communities that have taken up these types of endeavors. And that's really the basis of the memo that is in your packet. The bottom line is on this, if you are interested in going forward with this proposal, the main point that the trust made was that this has to be supervised closely by the town. And all of these issues need to be addressed. Their concern, and it's from an insurance standpoint, and that means risk management, and it also ties into whether or not we'd be covered if something bad does happen here. It can't be a situation where you put the donation bin out and that's it. You need to do things to make sure that it's safe for those people that are making the donations, and it's also safe for those people that are receiving the donations. So my suggestion for you tonight to move this along is to refer the matter to the town manager. And I was tempted to say the traffic commission, but I do think that Kate is best placed here. And if there's any members of the council that want to assist her, if Mr. Kindness wants to assist her, and I know there's employees that want to assist her too. I think what you need to do at the next time this is addressed is to see the plan that Kate and the group comes up with to show what type of a facility it is, what safety measures are being taken. I'm sure, Kate, that the trust would be more than happy to help you on this. Colleen Bodzioni helped out on this, as well as Paul Dutra from the trust, and they were great. But I think once this group comes up with a plan, that's something that the council can take a look at, approve, and get this thing going.
I'm comfortable with that. So if we could have a motion to refer this to the manager, and
I'll make a motion, we refer this to the town manager, and because it's such a legal aspect, to the town solicitor to come up with a plan to bring back to us for next month's meeting.
Second that.
we have a motion and a second, and I am more than willing to work with the manager and Michael Kindness. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you so much, everybody, and thank you, Michael. We'll be in touch.
Michael, thank you.
Thank you all.
On to town manager, who's just became that much more busy. So number one is discussion and action regarding solid waste disposal and transfer station operations, yard waste, trash, and recycling. And A, trash and recycling, discussion regarding proposed Rhode Island Resource Recovery tipping fee increases effective July 1, 2021. Again, an agenda item that was triggered by some pretty significant outreach from the community. We've got a lot of really, a lot of citizens who have a lot of property pride and who are very excited and engaged to live a green and waste-free life. And some of the operations and the at the town, at the DPW, at the transfer station in regard to taking yard waste and whatnot have made some conversations happen. So I think Manager Michaud can kind of give us a better overview. There's some pretty serious information here in her memo in regard to how it's going to just get more and more expensive to get rid of our waste, and I have some ideas. So Manager Michaud.
Yeah, as Council President Cronin stated, this kind of started from a conversation with a number of residents about concerns regarding yard waste, and particularly the restrictions that were placed on the yard waste disposal, restricting it to an 800 pounds at the transfer station. And free curbside pickup does continue, but there were some changes at the transfer station. I didn't feel it was appropriate to address that issue in a vacuum, just because it is part of a larger issue of the transfer station management and waste management in general. And I wanted the council to be fully aware of kind of the expenses that go into handling all types of waste, including yard waste and recycling. Even though we look at those two streams as free because they don't carry a tipping fee, there certainly is a lot of expense that comes along with them. There truly is nothing that is free. And I also wanted to alert you to the issues that are coming down the pike as far as Rhode Island Resource Recovery and the increases in the tipping fees that look like they are going to happen in the near future. As I stated in the memo, we were on a very good trajectory starting last November when we switched over to the new bin system. Things were moving in the right direction as far as increased recycling, decreased rubbish, and resulting in decreased costs for the town. But the pandemic seems to have upended that progress. It's not just the town of Warren. This is something that's being experienced all over as people are spending more time at home, and just there's a lot more trash entering the streams. And that carries over to yard waste as well. I've included in the memorandum, which I'll post separately online too. It's posted right now as part of the agenda backup, but I'll also post it just in case anyone in the public is interested in reading it. I just tried to summarize our current procedures and some of the costs that we're experiencing currently. I've also included a survey of some other Rhode Island communities, and I included Swansea too, just because they're a direct abutter, regarding their policies and procedures for disposal of residential trash, commercial trash, yard waste, and I mentioned recycling where I had that information. As you get towards the back of the packet that you received, I included a summary of our trash and recycling tonnage. You'll see it's a chart, 2018, 2019, 2020. That is our what we disposed of at the Rhode Island Resource Recovery in Johnston, and those numbers are in tons. And then the very last page is a breakdown of our yard waste statistics for the current year of 2020. And then at the bottom of that chart, you'll see I did a year-over-year comparison for the month of November, which is definitely one of our busiest months, the busiest month for curbside yard waste. This year we were up 68.4%, and for the yard waste that was brought to the transfer station, we were up 161%. So we certainly are seeing a lot more activity with that in that regard. And For next steps, as you know, we have a new accountant that's on staff, Sean Murphy. One of his first tasks is doing a deep dive into these expenses. So what I've tasked him with is we have a lot of information about the tonnage, what we pay to Rhode Island Resource Recovery, but we don't have a lot of breakout about what we have in expenses and how it's assigned. So what he's doing, obviously we know our overall expenses, but what he's doing is working with Director Malik to come up with a per ton cost basically for these different types of waste that we handle, including not just the labor cost and the tipping fees, but things like utilities, overhead, fuel, vehicle maintenance, some of those other costs that have a significant impact on the budget, but may not be easily apparent just by looking at the overall budget. You have to do kind of a more fine-tooth review to get down to the actual assignment of those costs within those different divisions. So that's what he's working on right now. And I expect to come back at the January meeting with his report on what we're actually spending to handle these types of waste. The Rhode Island Resource Recovery Board will be meeting tomorrow regarding the tipping fees from last I heard. If they do vote to approve those increased tipping fees, which just for the members of the public who may not have the documentation in front of them, in fiscal year 22, which begins July 1 of 21, they're proposing to increase the tipping fee by 7.5%. And then the over the cap fee, which we incur regularly, would be increased by 15%. And then the following year, fiscal year 23, we would see another 7.5% increase in the tipping fee and another increase in the over the cap fee for a total of 15% increase in the tipping fee and a 25% increase in the over the cap fee. If that is approved by Rhode Island Resource Recovery tomorrow, draft contracts will be written up for all the municipalities and will be distributed to municipalities by April 1st. And then you as the town council will be asked to approve the contract and return the signed contract back to Rhode Island Resource Recovery by June 30th. I should note that by law, the town of Warren is required to dispose of its waste with Rhode Island Resource Recovery. So there's not a lot of options. But I know the Rhode Island League of Cities and Towns is filing a formal request that this fee increase be postponed for a year due to the pandemic and the dire financial situation of all the municipalities. I don't know if that will be granted. So in other words, I gave you a whole lot of information, but I did not want to, like I said, I did not want to look at one aspect of this issue in a vacuum. And I am available for any questions at all.
Madam Chair, may I?
Yes, please.
I don't have questions as much as I have statements, Kate, Ms. Mishu. I'm sure you're aware, around 10 years ago, the sad reality that the landfill would be closing in 2038 back then was a rumor. It's a reality. As you stated, the great way to end your discussion on the law that we can only sell our trash to them. We're in a real bind. Trash and education is probably going to be our biggest impact if it ever changes, and we know trash is changing. If our educational funding formula ever changes, we'll really be in dire straits. But this is a huge issue because we don't have any place else to go. As the people responsible for this decision, we're kind of stuck. I can tell you that they told us, and they're right on course. They won't tell us what they're going to do in 2038 when the landfill closes. But every year, the cost to dump is going up. We need to think somehow at this, how to solve this moving target, because we're not going to be alone when the time comes. But the sad reality is, without us able to look elsewhere on where we can bring the trash, we're stuck. I don't know if I've added anything positive to this other than the unfortunate reality that this is something that was not just stated, but predicted, and here it is. coming true. How do you feel, Kate? And we have no options.
No, I mean, I think our options are definitely limited. At one point, I know in the past, these rate changes for Rhode Island Resource Recovery required legislative approval, but they don't require that approval anymore. So we don't have that direct outlet. But you're right, if the landfill is going to close, the date may change here and there depending on how quickly it gets filled up, but it is going to close and there needs to be an alternative. And I know that conversation is happening. I know there's still discussions about waste to energy, about, incineration, there's a lot of different options that are being looked at. But I do think it's an urgent issue, and we can't wait till 2038 or whatever that date is to try to figure it out, because that's not going to work.
And I guess the positive thing I can say, and that I've said to people who do complain about our policies now, as Ms. Mishu pointed out in her review, we're the only town that offers any form of free trash disposal. And that when you look at the number of tons that we collect and the amount of people that use it, it's like almost next to nothing. I mean, I think we may sell 600 or 800 stickers to use the transfer station, not including dual use. And that was probably 3 or 4 years ago. I bet you our numbers are way down. The impact is more of the convenience or inconvenience, I should say, of the people who want to pick up their own refuse, be it yard waste or even bringing other kind of trash to the DPW. We need to think outside of the box. Unfortunately, the negative impact that it's had on a few people is going to be nothing compared to where we're at as a town. Huge decisions are going to have to be made that are going to change how we've done things, and that's a reality. And it's on the horizon. I'm just not sure how we figure out what to do because of Rhode Island Resource Recovery being the only game in town.
Thank you, Councilman DePasquale. Some sobering thoughts for sure. Councilman Heckert, did you have a comment?
I do, thank you. I think Joe's right on, spot on, that this is just a looming problem that needs a solution. If you look at what the list of what other municipalities do, it's kind of all over the place, but there are some that use a pay-as-you-throw policy, which is you pay for what you put out. So if you're conscientious, you pay less. If you're not conscientious, you pay more. And I think it's something we're going to have to eventually look at, and that's what our policies are about trash collection. And there are some people that are very wasteful, and there's some people that aren't. And the people that aren't wasteful and recycle and do all those other things shouldn't be subsidizing those that don't. And again, it's another discussion to have down the road, but I think it's something that is inevitable for our community, unfortunately.
Thank you, Mr. Heckert.
If I might just make one more quick statement, I'd like to acknowledge that Connie McGreevy is on the call as an attendee, and she is one of the people who brought this forward. I've had some very helpful and productive discussions with her since she first brought the issue of the yard waste forward, and she's offered to help, doing some research and also looking into some educational programs through Rhode Island Resource Recovery to help us to improve our recycling. We've done this kind of in fits and starts in the past, but maybe a refreshed look at how we promote effective recycling would be helpful in reducing our tonnage on trash. So I just want to acknowledge I appreciate her offer for assistance, and I will certainly take her up on it. And anyone else who would like to has ideas on how to improve our recycling numbers or would like to assist in that effort, please feel free to contact me. I think this is something that is very worthy of putting forth an effort, and as Councilman Di Pasquale said, we're going to be hit with a very sobering budget issue, and compounding it with all the other sobering budget issues on the horizon. The sooner we can start to attack this issue, the better.
Yeah. And I too have been in communication with Ms. McGreevy, and her experience and her knowledge and her eagerness to fully understand and the whole issue regarding trash, recycling, waste, the environment are really helpful. And yeah, I've learned a lot just communicating with her. You kind of touched on something, Ms. Michaud, in your memo to us with, people being at home. They're doing a lot more home improvement and a lot more yard and garden work and whatnot. And I know for myself personally, I'm just going through bins and boxes and closets and drawers and whatnot, and just sort of decluttering and finding stuff that I forgot I ever had, and it's piling up. And I think, unfortunately, what's happened that has really negatively impacted our trash numbers is that people are just throwing things out without any regard to the fact that they're just going to what the real negative impact is. And we had talked about, gosh, a year and a half ago, about a program that would take textiles and footwear and I think some home appliances and stuff, that would take it down south and either resell or recycle and repurpose those things. And as you explained to me recently, Kate, that program it was frozen due to COVID. And I hope anybody who's listening or watching knows that, those boxes of, things that you just don't want anymore, that nobody wants either, those count to our tonnage and can end up costing us a lot of money. Kate and I had discussed the idea of maybe reaching out to, say, Big Brothers Big Sisters, one of those nonprofit organizations, and getting a legitimate bin someplace in town where people could leave those kind of items. I know there are those sort of Planet Recycle bins, and I've heard really not good things about them, and that most of that stuff does end up back in our stream and end up at the dump or end up not in good places. And so I would really like to look into maybe having some centrally located bin where people could drop off used clothing and goods of that nature, so that they don't end up in our in our garbage, in our trash, and adding to our tonnage. And as you know, Connie is a real believer and a hoper for the future of our community and our planet, and a zero waste sort of program, and is really eager to help with the greening of our town. So I hope whatever we decide tonight, if we decide to just move forward with making some decision next month, once we have a document before us that really illustrates where all the costs are. In the meantime, maybe we can find out about some other programs that would give us some better alternatives for getting rid of our stuff.
Well, remember, the biggest impact's going to be in our budget, and the real burden here is going to be coming up with a policy, because we can't just ship it off to the state. We're stuck with them as the picture of them as the driver, and you're trying to ride the trip, and it's just really frustrating. I think the league has to definitely get involved. I think we need to, if any action tonight that we could do, we should send a letter to the league, just letting them know how important this issue is, and just let it be known. This isn't just impacting us. And even the communities that, I mean, what Mr. Hackett brought up is great fact, that the communities that you use less, you pay for what you throw out. But also the tax rate in those communities isn't that different than Warren. And if it is, trash as a state issue, even in those communities, they pay for those bags. They're still going to the landfill. So I think we owe it to ourselves as a town, but we also owe it to ourselves to act in some cooperative manner as a state, because we're all going to be in the same boat.
All right, so I think a motion then would be to support writing a letter expressing our deep concern and expectation that the league addresses the issue of the impending closing of the statewide dump, and directing the manager to work with Steve in the finance office on developing a document of information so that we better understand where we are from a financial standpoint, and to look into getting some bins or opportunities for people to dispose of their used goods in a more mindful manner.
May I also add one additional point that, and request that maybe you include it in the letter as well, and copy our legislators. One thing that I did not mention is the history of scoops, budget scoops that have happened around resource recovery. Unfortunately, it seems that whenever they show a balance of cash in their accounts, that the state's budget comes and scoops that money, which results, that money is coming out of our pockets. The governor's budget that was proposed back in January proposed a $5 million scoop out around resource recovery. I don't know what the status of that is, but I think every time that money is scooped out of that budget, it negatively affects the municipalities, and that practice should be discouraged.
Yeah. I think that was a lot to have in one motion. If I heard you correctly, it should be a few motions, because some have to do with the letter and some have to do with town budgeting.
Duly noted. Who would like to start to craft those motions?
I'm sorry,
You
Madam
may.
Chair. You can batch it because it's all the same subject matter. I understand the point, but I think you can batch it up and send it out like that. I'm sure we're going to get that down, and Kate will be able to handle the result.
But we want to
Okay.
send to the league that we're working internally on our own trash costs.
I think Kate's in constant contact with them, so it's not a big leap.
Oh, okay.
Alrighty. VP Hanley, you look like you really want to make a motion like what she said, or if you want.
I would like to make a motion to condense the president's last statement, to send out a letter to the League of Cities and Towns, not only for the immediate, but for the extended future. I mean, like you said, but to make a motion to send a letter to the League of Cities and Towns expressing our concern, including our local legislators. I'm trying to remember everything you said, and it was a long one.
Identifies a program where we can offer our citizens the opportunity to dispose of unwanted goods that may have value to others, or that
Yes,
may
yep, to
be
establish,
recyclable.
establish a, I don't know if it would be a program, but a reach out, a correspondence to set up a location for some good collections that are possibly reusable rather than being thrown out. And what else did we have in there?
Ms. Michaud, where are we missing? You were so.
No, I think that writing a letter of concern to the league with copy to the legislators, expressing concern about rate increases now and in the future, and discouraging the future scoop of budgets. For the January meeting, review the cost analysis and policies, and then identify between now and January meeting, identifying alternative programs for use of goods and avoidance of landfilling.
That's, yeah, what she said.
Yes. All righty, so we have a very robust motion out there. Do we have a second?
Second, Brant Heckert.
All righty, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. All righty. Town Manager 2, discussion and action regarding approval for repair of slate roof on Town Hall by Renaissance Roofing Company, capital account number 09-019-200012. You have in your packet a memo from the manager, including 2 proposals with scope of work at 2 different amounts, one for $92,500 and one for $58,000. Manager Michaud, perhaps you will give us your opinion on what this, why this work is so critical, and what your preference would be or your recommendation would be.
Sure. I mean, this is definitely a critical item. We have a beautiful slate roof. Unfortunately, the connectors that are holding it together are rusting out and letting go, and we have lost some slates. We lost several in the most recent windstorm. Thankfully, those fell to the south side of the building, away from walking paths and people, but it's certainly not a situation that we can allow to continue. This was something that we budgeted for. We have $100,000 in the capital account for this roof repair. It's become more urgent because we are actually losing slates now. Many thanks to Jan Malik, who searched far and wide for a company that would even be qualified to perform this work. It is pretty specialized, working on slates and then also working on a roof that is as high as ours. It will be quite a job for them to get up there to do this work. So before you, you have 2 quotes. They're both provided by Renaissance Roofing, who performed the repairs at the library last year. So we're familiar with their work. One of them is just for the straight repair of the slates, and the other quote that was received was the repair of the slates and also the installation of a snow retention system. We have had issues in the past with avalanches off the roof. Thankfully, it makes a lot of noise so people can get out of the way, but certainly that's not an ideal situation either. And while he's already up there doing the work, the proposal was given to install the snow retention system. It's my recommendation at this point to go forward with the full project, since it falls within the budget that we already have allocated. But certainly I would like to hear the opinion of the council if they also have thoughts about, at a minimum, we have to do the repair work. I think it's critically urgent. I'm very much afraid that something bad could happen if we don't get this work done quickly.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good price for the repairs and the snow retention system, especially seeing how it all falls within the number we allotted. I think it's a great idea.
I would agree. I think it doesn't make any sense to have these people up there doing the work and not take that added step of putting in the snow retention system. It's a difference of about $34,000, and money, in my opinion, very well spent.
Thank you. Yeah, in reading these proposals and Kate's memo and hearing her speak right now, there just doesn't seem to be any downside or reason not to make this investment. In fact, it would seem almost in bad, it would seem like bad decision to make not to do the full work, as the risk that we would take with a new roof, and then, you know, snow sliding off of it and taking somebody out. I mean, that would be way more costly, and keeping people safe around the building is really important. It is a place where people gather often. So I would absolutely support the full work.
I'll make a motion. We approve the amount of $92,500 for town hall repairs and snow retention.
Out of the capital budget. number there?
Yep, I gotta get back to my agenda for that. Out of capital budget. Where the hell is it? 09-019-20-0012.
Thank you. I'll second that motion.
All
Hecker.
in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. Do we have, are they able to move ahead with that real quickly?
I'm sure Mr. Malik will contact them right away and we'll get it scheduled as soon as we can.
Right. And I see Mr. Malik is on the phone, so he knows how we voted. Next, we have Finance Director. We all received a copy of the revenue and expenditure report. Does anybody have any comments or questions? Councilman Heckert, I see your hand raised.
Thank you, Council President. I know that many of these numbers, especially in the revenue side, are, how shall I say, skewed due to the COVID pandemic situation that we're facing. But there was one line item that I found pretty confusing, and that is third-party billing. Year-to-date, prior year-to-date revenue is listed as $266,268. This year, it's listed as $12,245. It's a massive difference, and maybe there's some simple explanation. I just wondered. It seems like that number might even be greater this year, considering how much work they're doing there on that. So that's my question.
You can say that is a simple answer is a matter of timing, because the timing of the entry.
Okay, I'm not sure I understand that, but so you're saying that.
Okay. Last year, we were posting through November, and this year we were lacking in behind on this entry. It's just a matter of time posting it to the system. Once it's posted, the numbers should be around that number as last year. I can't say it's exactly the same or better, but it should be just around last year's figure.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, Fong, that it's not numbers that haven't been entered yet is the explanation?
Right, not all the numbers are entered yet.
Okay, so maybe we'd see that next month?
Yes.
And Councilman, if I might suggest, perhaps we could send us a separate update to the council on that item, just to call it out and clarify.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
I have discussed rescue runs with the fire chief because it is something that we've discussed frequently this year. It is a little bit counterintuitive because during the height of the pandemic, rescue runs were down. A lot of people seem to be avoiding calling rescue and going to the hospital unless they really had to go. So those numbers were down a bit. I believe it's back to pretty much where it was. But it is a little bit counterintuitive the way that works.
Thank you for that explanation.
Any other questions? Alrighty, do we have a motion, or do we need to accept this report? I'm having a moment of...
No, we never have.
Okay, well then I would just say thank you, Ms. Chan, for this revenue and expenditures report. Moving on to planning and community development. Update on development activities associated with 15 Main Street. Planner Rulli, what can you tell us?
I'd asked last month when Mr. Chicchione and myself appeared for a monthly update. As we mentioned last month, we've submitted the preliminary determination application to CRMC. That's the first step before we can do anything on the site. We expect next week to have some response from CRMC. What Mr. Ciccione and I have been working on most recently is figuring out what the financing stack will look like, what the public improvements are going to cost, what the revenue generating improvements are going to cost. I've requested a meeting with Commerce RI to discuss whatever financing assistance they could provide. And we're waiting to hear back from them in terms of when we could meet. I sent them a package last week. I had hoped to have a meeting this week, but they somehow mysteriously disappear occasionally. So I won't editorialize on that any further, but
Thank you.
that's where we're at.
Any questions for Planner Rulli? All right. Thank you for continuing or for keeping this project moving forward. We look forward to the next update. Next, discussion and action regarding acceptance of Belanger Court as a town road. Again, Planner Rulli.
So, there are a number of roads that probably should have been accepted but haven't been formally. This matter came forward. Belanger Court is off of Maple Road. It's a half a cul-de-sac. We did require that a bond be posted when it was created. The bond was released. Former DPW Director Massett had informed the planning board that the improvements had been completed and they were satisfactory to the town. However, nothing ever happened in terms of the town formally accepting the road such as it is. The request to me was that if we had been plowing it, then we stopped being plowed. So in order for DPW to continue to plow it would be require that we accept it as a town street or road.
BP Hanley?
Bob, when this subdivision was created with the intent of it being a public road, or was the intent to be a private road?
That predated my coming to the town. The way I see it, it is really only servicing one home off of Maple because it's a cul-de-sac in front of that single home. I wasn't here for the history of when this all went down, but we did require a bond. A bond
Okay.
was posted and we did release it.
Okay.
If
Yeah,
my
because-
memory serves, it was to be a public structure, even though it's a half a cul-de-sac.
Okay, because a lot of these developments, because when I was on the planning board, they would build these roads, I don't want to say substandard, but part of the whole agreement on the subdivision was, all right, it's going to remain a private road where you're going to service it and you're going to do this. And then eventually they come back and they want us to accept it. Now we're accepting something that we don't know whether it was built to standards, but you said we did have a bond, we released the bond. Do you know if we got an as-built on the road when the subdivision was accepted?
And as I said, DPW, the former DPW Director Massett had testified before or communicated to the planning board that it met all the specifications that he had. So different than Village Street, which is not a town accepted road. This met all those requirements.
Okay. How's it holding up?
We haven't been plowing it, so it's in good.
Okay.
So if we are to, if we go ahead and accept this, we can just make a motion and accept this as a town road. Is that all that needs to happen tonight?
Correct.
And then going forward, you are going to work, Planner Rulli, on identifying any of the other sort of streets and roads in town that are hanging in limbo?
Yeah, I will. I mean, in fairness, Julie, before she left, had identified a number of roads that we need to look at. So hopefully I can loop her to come in one day and we can identify all of those. And then I can come back to you with similar action for those that should be accepted town roads, which will make life easier for the DPW director and everyone else.
All right. Sounds good. Do we have a motion to accept Belanger Court as a town road?
I'll make a motion, we accept Belanger Court, based on the, information provided to us as a town road.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by VP Hanley, a second by Councilman Kalenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Belanger Road is a town road. Thank you. Next, we have the Recreation Director. First up is discussion and action regarding dog park policies and rules. Ms. Thibodeau, are you with us? There they are.
Yes, I'm here.
All righty, so we are looking at the policy and rules for the dog park. I'm guessing that you looked at what other communities are doing, and these rules are in alignment with what other people are doing?
Yes, and I believe that Kate was going to send it to the trust just to have them look over it as well.
Yes, I have sent it to the trust for their review and comment. I have not heard back from them yet, but I expect that we will.
All right, does anybody on the council have any questions about this, about the Warren Dog Park rules and policies?
No, I was gonna make a motion to continue it till next month until we get the report from the trust, because they're the ones that are gonna tell us whether or not they're legally gonna back us on them.
Is that the way to go, Solicitor DeSisto, or should we approve them contingent upon the trust's stamp?
No, the appropriate thing to do is what Council Vice President Hanley set out. Continue it to hear back from the trust.
Very good.
I'll make that an official motion.
I'll second that.
We have a motion from VP Hanley, a second from Councilman Heckert to move this to next month, continue, or to get an opinion from the trust. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. All right, and next, the general update on the dog park. Ms. Thibodeau, what do you got?
So the dog park is scheduled to open in the spring. We are just letting the grass grow a little bit more. We are in full, the memorial path is going well. We've had a lot of donations. Warren Monument is going to help us put those bricks and pavers in. We are now going to be offering a, like a billboard, almost like the Little League has, where businesses can have yearly advertising on the fence to help us to create a kind of a maintenance fund for the park itself. So we're doing very well. We're working on signage right now and rules. And again, we're looking to open in the spring of 2021.
Okay, Tara, I have a question. You have the what has been completed list and then the longer what needs to be done list.
Yes.
And there is only one value attached on that list with sponsor boards, or that's the value for each sponsor board that you would charge?
Correct.
Are the items on the what needs to be done list covered by the balance of $19,766?
Yes, and some of it will be phases. So we are going to do as much as we can. If we can, like water service, that is not covered with the 19,000 that's left. That is something that will have to be planned for at a later date. But definitely putting in some shade trees, the trash receptacles, the waste stations, the signage. We're going to create a community board. All of those things will be covered under that fee. The security cameras, we can't go forward with any of that until the town upgrades their systems. And so some of these are phase 2, but everything that we can cover with the 19,000, we will.
And do you have a cost on the water service?
We do not right now.
Okay. And the shade trees, might those be something that are in stock somewhere?
We're hoping that that's something that we can get from the DPW.
Okay.
But I'm going to work with Chucky Staten. He called and he offered to help me out with that.
Good.
I have a question, Council President.
Yeah.
Good evening, Ms. Thibodeau. Thank you for your work on this. So the items that you mentioned that aren't budgeted for, you don't have the money yet, the water service and security cameras aren't crucial to opening of the park, obviously. Kind of wish list things that eventually you'd like to see happen.
Correct.
Okay, just, yeah.
I mean, because we'd also like to maybe add some solar lights. There are a couple of parks in the area that have solar lights. So, I mean, there's lots of possibilities, but the main goal, the main priority is to open this up to the community in the spring.
Got it. I understand. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you. And then finally, the your annual report.
So I don't know if anybody had a chance to read it, if they have any specific questions, or if you would like me just to review in general.
Does anybody have questions for?
No,
I read through it. I don't have any specific questions.
Obviously, we were not able to have the normal program, but we did the best we could. We were only able to have a little over 200 children this year. But again, we tried to make it a fun summer for them. There were some really good lessons that we learned, even though COVID was a big part of this summer. There are things that we will not go back with because of the structure it created. It was actually some really good things happened because of COVID. So we'll keep those things going forward. We were unfortunate that we couldn't do any field trips this year, or go bowling, or have any of our specialty clubs. But hopefully this coming summer we will be able to put those back in. One of the probably the most exciting things was the usage of the Warrentown Beach. I've never seen so many people at the Warrentown Beach as I've seen this summer, including the person that collected monies was very helpful. We had many weekends where the parking lot was very full. And we actually had a couple of weekends where we had to open up Birds Hill Park to residents so that we could have additional parking. So, it was the Warrentown Beach got a lot of usage this summer, and it was very nice to see families and just neighbors sitting around under the trees during the week, on the weekends. So that was a big a plus for this summer.
Great. Well, thank you for this, your report, and for the work that you do. We appreciate it sincerely, and look forward to getting through this next season, and a time where we can all meet up at the dog park with our four-legged friends.
Madam President, if I may, just real quick, Tara, are you still there?
Yes.
Hey, do you have a forecast on what the program's going to look like this year, or are you just going to wait till it evolves depending on what COVID-19 does?
I plan to. My plan is to go back to prior to COVID-19. So what I was planning on for the summer of of 2020 is what I'm looking to do for the summer of 2021. So to continue with the growth, we had a lot of growth with the program. Bring back the concert series, obviously. We actually have tennis programs coming in. The USTA is actually going to be running our tennis programs for adults and for the youth in the spring. So I'm looking, as long as everything is somewhat back to normal, I'm looking to go back to pre-COVID times.
All right, great. Hey, and yeah, great job on the annual report. I read it. I love looking at the photos. It just, seeing the counselors now that are in college that used to be there as 8-year-olds. It's just, that's what that program's all about. So great job. And looking forward to seeing you out there. Thanks, Tara.
Thank you.
Thank you. All righty, Chief Borges, you are here. Next is Police Chief. Request approval and authorize the Police Department, Town of Warren, to sell 2 used cruisers to Warwick Police. So Warwick wants to buy our used vehicles. Talk to us.
Yes, good evening. Apparently they bought 22 vehicles and they were only able to get 15. So they found out that we have similar color cruisers, black and whites, as Warwick does. So they reached out to us looking to buy the two cruisers that we had taken out of service. So I spoke with our solicitor and our town manager, and this was has permission to sell them. We definitely getting a lot more money for them as better than advertising them.
Nice.
Can you share with us how much you're getting?
Yes, but between the two cruisers, we're getting $12,500.
Sweet. And that goes into the general fund?
I believe so.
And no give backs, so.
As is.
Okay.
Also, with that said, I also have a 2011 Old Detectives car, and the building official has an old car, so we'll be advertising in the paper for those, for the highest bid.
So Warren's a regular used car lot. Get one
Trying to clean it up.
Wiggly air socks.
Every penny counts.
I will make a motion to authorize the Town of Warren to sell to the City of Warwick 2 used police cruisers.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All righty.
Thank you.
Let us know when the check clears. All right, finally, Town Clerk, we have request approval for the edit 2021, not 20, Town Council meetings. There are 12 dates here. If everybody has reviewed, is there anything that needs to be done?
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the 2020-2021 Town Council meeting schedule. Motion by Councilman DePasquale, seconded by VP Hanley. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. And without anything further, I would like a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman DePasquale and a second by Councilman Kalenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas and Happy New Year, folks.
Same to you.
Merry Christmas, happy holidays. Everybody be safe and well and good to each other.